We are joined by Florida State student athletes. On the outside, far left, Terrence Mann. In the middle, Trent Forrest. And closest to me, Fiondu Kabengele. Florida State advanced yesterday with a 76-69 win over Vermont, and they will play Murray State in tomorrow's first game at 6:10. Questions for the student athletes? Middle on the left, Neil.
Neil Ostrout with the Journal-Inquirer. For Terrence and Trent, I guess, talk about facing John Morant. Have you watched him at all? Did you get a chance to watch yesterday? And what kind of challenge does that represent?
We'll start with Terrence and then move on to Trent.
He's a good player. We're just going to have to try and contain him as best we can. He's a good passer also. He likes to find his teammates. So we just try to get in the way of that, stick to our principles, and things should fall in place.
Yeah, kind of what Terrence said, just try to disrupt them as much as you can. I mean, it's kind of hard to stop a player who likes to pass and get the ball to his teammates because you never know kind of when he's going to attack or when he's going to pass. So I would say just try to disrupt his rhythm would probably be the biggest thing for us.
Just a reminder, the Florida State locker room is open at the moment. Another question for the student athletes? Dr. Neal.
You guys obviously have for all three, I guess, you guys obviously have a big size advantage, but that's not uncommon. You're larger than a lot of teams on the wings and especially in the middle. How do you best take advantage of that? Obviously, you'd love to dominate the glass. I mean, they're small, but not maybe as small as some teams you've played.
Let me start this one with Fiondu and work the other way.
We recognize that our size is going to be a good advantage. It's important that we stay consistent through the whole first half. We know that their bigs going to be very energized. You know, we guys got to keep chipping away and just wear them down with our length and our depth and continue to be aggressive on the glass, just wear them down. And with our guards being as disruptive as possible, getting on transition, I feel like we'll chip away and we'll be victorious.
Trent, take that.
Yeah, try our best to use that to our advantage as we did that pretty much all season, just with smaller teams, just like Fee said, just chip away at it the whole game, just stick to our game plan. Make them see bodies, make them go around our length and size. So I feel like we just need to use that to our advantage.
Yeah, I agree. Just being consistent, I think, with our length and athleticism throughout the whole game, and especially sticking to our defensive principles to try to disrupt them.
Questions for the student athletes? Right down here in the front.
You guys obviously faced. Oh, I'm sorry. It's Brian Freeney with ESPN. You guys obviously faced Zion this year too, and that was a huge challenge. What do you compare this challenge with Morant like to facing him?
Or is that for all?
I mean, I would say they're both, great players in what they do. Zion's very athletic. John Morant's very athletic. But, I mean, we've been facing athletic players all year, especially throughout the ACC. But as you know, those guys are different, so we just got to our coaches have a great game plan for us, to try and stay in front of them and contain them, and I think we'll just do a good job of that.
Right there in the back.
For any of the players, I know your teammate had a tragic loss yesterday. I'm wondering how he's doing and how you guys are helping Phil sort of get through a tough time.
Take that, Trent.
It's hard anytime when you lose a parent. So, he's been doing pretty good. We've all been there for him since it happened. And, we're just helping him get through it, giving him his space, his time that he needs, and just be there for him when he needs it.
Any other thoughts, guys? Or sums it up. More questions for the student athletes? Yes, go ahead. Right.
Throw one more at you on Ja because he's been, obviously such a big story. I'm sure you watch tape. Can you sort of appreciate his game yesterday? I mean, in other words, you sort of sit back and say, yeah, this is kind of fun. Like he had an interesting, or is it too much like, man, we got to deal with this guy? So can you sort of step back from a fan's almost point of view and appreciate his game for, the sort of spectacular plays that he makes?
Terrence?
Yeah, he had a triple-double, and that doesn't happen often in college basketball. So, you could appreciate the triple-double that he had. But also facing him next also is in your head, trying to figure out, how you're going to cut that down and not let him have the type of game that he had yesterday. But like I said, we're just going to use our athleticism, be lengthy, be smart on the defensive end, and try to disrupt it.
Trent, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, what he's kind of been doing all season as a fan, I mean, all you can do is respect it, honestly. Like Terrence said, it doesn't happen often when you see triple doubles in college. So, I mean, I feel like from a fan's perspective, you definitely have to respect what he's done all season. And just going into tomorrow, we just have to be locked in, and it's going to be tough stopping him because he's such a good player.
Any other questions for the student athletes? Right down here in the middle.
Ed Marlowe, Paducah-Sun. I'm just curious, obviously a lot of questions about Ja, but what do you guys think you guys bring to the table in a game like this, knowing that the Sweet 16 is right in front of you?
Yeah, do you want to start that?
I think with our team, obviously our quality of our depth, our length, but more especially our intelligence. I feel like we're one of the smarter teams in this conference. I feel like that goes underrated, and I feel like our decision-making and our game plan preparation is very excellent. Our coaching staff does a great job. Players do a great job adjustment, especially in the Vermont game. It was tied, and we were able to regroup and see what we could have made mistakes in and what we could improve on, and the way we adjusted that second half. I just give credit to our mindset and our intelligence. So I feel like with this team, our overall mental preparation and our game intelligence, our basketball IQ is something that we bring to the table.
Brent, you want to take that too?
What was the question?
What do we bring to the table?
Oh, yeah, definitely our athleticism, our length, our size. So I would say that definitely. And another thing going along kind of with the IQ is our experience. I mean, I feel like from top to bottom, we have a lot of guys that's been here. We understand what's at stake. We understand how to win these tough games. I mean, yesterday it seemed like they had a pretty good crowd. So just being able to kind of manage the crowd, manage the emotions of the game, just for a whole 40 minutes, that experience, I feel like is going to be an advantage for us as well.
Any other questions for student athletes? No? All set? Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
They'll be back in the locker room. Thanks, good luck. Coach Hamilton will be here at 1:55. Folks, we are joined by Florida State coach Leonard Hamilton. Welcome, Coach. Congratulations. Once again, the Florida State locker room will be open for Coach's duration up here on the podium still. If you have a question, please raise your hand and wait till the microphone gets to you. Questions for Coach Hamilton? We'll start right there in the back.
Coach, over here, Mark Tracy from the New York Times. In watching tape on Murray State and in particular on Ja, what do you notice different even than if you have a chance to see any of them play last year, and do you notice big differences in the team and in Ja?
What I noticed is that he's one of the most exceptional players that I've had a chance to watch play. He's kind of a throwback to guys who have the ability to score points, but also has the passion and the excitement about creating opportunities for his teammates. Guys like Nate Archibald, who can lead the NBA in scoring and also lead them in assists at the same time. A guy like Magic Johnson, who got so much joy for making the game easy for his teammates. Even a player like Muggsy Bogues, a guy who not only is capable of going out and scoring points, but he has that uncanny way of making the game easy for his opponents. And my opinion is that you have to be careful because he's not winning the games by himself. He surrounds himself with good players who feed off of who he is and what he is by as a player. And I'm excited just for him and for their team, because I enjoy watching guys play with such an unselfish spirit, and they actually get excited about it. And you can just see the gleam and the joy in his eye. It motivates him. Like some guys, they play harder and with more intensity when they make shots. Whenever he completes a pass and makes an assist, you can just see him glowing. And that's an unusual player, and you don't get a chance to play against people like that. And I got a tremendous amount of respect for him. But still, at the end of the day, it's going to be Florida State against Murray State. It's not going to be one particular player against a player who probably is going to be very difficult to keep from doing what he does best, because he's such a highly skilled, skilled, and mentally and emotionally savvy youngster. So we pretty much going to be who we are. And I think the team that's going to be successful is going to be the team that comes as close as they can to playing up to their potential. We have a defensive scheme, they have an offensive scheme. They have offensive schemes, they have defensive schemes. I'm sure they're planning to try to minimize ours and play to their strengths, and we're planning to do the same thing. I think the team that's going to be successful, the team that's comes close to being who they are to the best of their abilities. Hope that answers your question.
We'll go to Dom next. Go to Nicole, right here in the middle.
Nicole Auerbach, The Athletic. Leonard, what was it like to find out about Phil's father, and then how do you as his coach approach that and be with him and support him? I imagine it was a very incredibly difficult night.
Of course it was. Mike Cofer, Phil's father, was one of the most competitive human beings that has ever played in the NFL. A tremendous amount of character, loved and respected by everybody, not only the guys who have played with him, teammates, but anybody who's ever been around him after his playing career was over. He is a guy who had to endure a unbelievably challenging, debilitating disease that mentally, emotionally is draining within itself, but physically the toll that it took on his body is beyond anything that you probably could explain. And he never complained. He always faced it every day with the heart of a lion, with tremendous amount of courage, and he passed that same mental and emotional aspect over to his son, Phil. He always challenged Phil, and he always encouraged him to play with the heart of a lion and without making any excuses for anything at all. And Phil's attitude has been as good as anyone that I've ever coached in my whole coaching career. He's always positive. He's always energetic. He's a fun guy to be around, a great teammate. He's a guy that uplifted other guys on the team when they were down. He's had to deal with a lot of injuries himself during his coaching career. Yeah, it was very difficult for him and for his teammates, and we spent a lot of time last night dealing with it in our own way. Our heart goes out to the Kofa family. They have been unbelievable Seminoles. We'll be there for Phil in every way possible. We have a culture of our basketball team, I think, that's healthy, and we're going to do everything we can to minimize the effect. But you don't ever really know how challenging going through that experience would be on the individual. But because of our culture and the love these guys have for each other, they feel the same level of pain, but they also have the same love and compassion and care for him, that they going to do everything they can. He's going to know that his brothers are there with him. And prior to the news that he got yesterday, we'd already dedicated the season and our play to his father. That meant a lot to Phil. So it's challenging. It's never easy, but we're prepared to, and I think we've started doing everything we possibly could to let him know that he has his basketball family is with him, and we can't do anything but pray for him and his family that they can do this tragedy the best they can.
Ralph, in the back.
Ralph Russo, AP. Leonard, just one quick follow-up. Phil's status, is he going to try to play? Is he going to remain with the team? Do you know, is that clarified at this point?
Well, he's going to remain with the team. We've had several conversations with his family, and they want him to remain with the team, and he wants to remain with his team. And then we'll make whatever adjustments we have to from there. But he'll be with us during the game tomorrow, and then we'll make the decisions that are necessary as we move forward.
Other questions for Coach Hamilton? Right down here in the middle. Then we'll go over to
Coach Ed Marlowe from the Paducah Sun. I know it's been a little while, but your ties to UT Martin and to Austin Peay as an assistant, some people might not know Murray State, but you on the other hand might have a little bit of experience from way back when. Any relation to that at all? And does this bring up fond memories from your yonder years?
Well, when I was a student at Austin Peay State, a student at the University of Tennessee at Martin, a couple of guys on the team with me came from Paducah Junior College. Rick Leeper, I think, one of the guys, still was a friend of mine. I think we might have scrimmaged them, and whether you know it or not, Cal Luther, I believe, was the head coach at Tennessee Martin. But as moving on to Austin Peay, back in those days, we had some tremendous battles. If you go back and read the newspapers, you can see that with the team that Coach Luther had there and the team we had at Austin Peay, they were always packed houses, and they were very, very exciting games. And if I remember correctly, Murray State probably had been the team to beat in the conference until we got to Austin Peay, and we had some tremendous exciting games against them. The 3 years I was at Austin Peay. I got a lot of fond memories of the challenges and the atmosphere that exist. Hector Blondell and some of the guys that played at Murray State back in, I think I had 2 or 3 guys from New York, and we had a guy on our team from New York named Fly Williams that led to the average 27 points and 9 rebounds a game, and as a freshman in a game that we had to win the conference. I think he scored 36 points or something like that, and it was an exciting era for me, and it was a great way for me to start my coaching career.
Coach, Brian Franey with ESPN. I guess without giving away any secrets, have you thought how you guys are going to defend Morant and who might guard him tomorrow?
I addressed that earlier. Florida State's defensive system will be playing against Murray State's offensive system. Now, you can spend all your time trying to figure out, stop somebody who might be unstoppable, and you could end up not worrying about Murray State and give all your attention to the one particular player. He's outstanding. He's fun to watch unless you're coaching against him. We're not going to change very much for who we are. We can't in one day turn around, all of a sudden invent a whole new defensive system. Hopefully we play against a lot of outstanding players and schemes in the ACC. Hopefully that has prepared us to play against another outstanding player, and he's definitely one of the best players in the country. We will make necessary adjustments out of who we are and the scheme, the system that we've used all along to be where we are now. We know it's a tremendous challenge when you're playing against a very special talent like him. But we can't lose sight of the fact, though, it's Florida State against Murray State, not necessarily 1 or 2 guys against a great player like Morant is.
Other questions for Coach Hamilton? Yes, right in the back.
Coach, this is related to Morant, but not necessarily about him. It seems like nowadays with the one and dones, we almost expect these guys to sort of like be stars immediately. Like so many great players like a Zion come in, and we're already thinking like, oh, that's going to be a #1 pick. Do we maybe underrate how much development there is in college basketball and how much guys can improve? That there's a lot of room between the guys who are like sort of ready-made stars and guys who can become stars?
Well, I think what we have done in the sport of basketball, we've created a unrealistic mindset. In the NBA, you got 400-some players. You got 150 of them come from probably Europe. Every year you only have maybe 20 college basketball players matriculate into the NBA, maybe 20, maybe 25. But that's all we talk about is one and dones. It's like they're everywhere. That doesn't exist. There's a lot of development that's needed. I think we have an opportunity for those elite players, maybe 20, maybe 25, that have an opportunity to go to the next level. And you have about 7,000 kids playing basketball. And all we talk about is one and done. And this cliche that we put that we have created a mindset that that's available for any and everybody. I think it's good that this kid's been in school for a couple of years. He's had a chance to hone his skills, and obviously he's prepared. But that's not easy. And you talk about him, you talk about Zion, and probably 2 or 3 other players on Duke's team that we had to play against. And I think that having an opportunity for youngsters to be able to realize their dream and move on. But I think the one and done phrase is overused because it's just not that many. But we act like that they're growing on trees and dropping off like apples. That's not the case. These guys are elite guys, and they come along few and far between. And then a lot of them that are drafted in the first round, even though they're one and dones, they're in the D League by January. So this is something I think you guys need to be careful about. This is not as easy, but he's one of those special elite guys that is obvious that he has that it factor that you can't really put your finger on that makes him special. And but I do think that even as talented as he is, having the opportunity for a couple years to develop, and I think when he moves to the next level, he's still going to have a lot to learn, a lot to grow. Those guys who are able to move in and be major contributors as first year players are not as prominent as sometimes I think we make it out to make it believe that this is what's going on in the basketball world. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Any other questions for Coach Hamilton?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.